Hi, this is Katina, and this is the very first episode of Ask a Clarinet Teacher. So I'm excited about it. I'm very excited to add this to the YouTube channel so that I have a place to actually talk about some of the questions people have had instead of having to write it in the comment section, because sometimes it's a lot of writing. So I'm going to start with the first question. How do you play staccato or light without it sounding nasty? I have a piece and I need it to sound light and clean. I only have problems on the high notes. When you have to play it short with the low notes, it's easy. And that's KK. I love all your YouTube names so much. Okay, anyway, we see that a lot as clarinet players, right? It's easy to articulate on the low notes, so much for us. And then it gets harder as we go higher in the clarinet. So very clean, no grunts, it's easier. Like that. As we get higher, it becomes more and more a situation where the notes can be grunty and harder to play fast. So this happens with all of us. So my very first piece of advice is double check your equipment. You want to have a mouthpiece that works for you, and you want to have a reed that works for you. If you're pulling a reed out of the box and it's a squeaky reed or it's resistant and it's hard to play, I hate to say this to you, pull another reed out of the box. I know reeds are expensive and it's frustrating. If you know how to work on a reed and sand it down and balance it or file it, great. Do that, but I don't really do that. I don't have much time for that. I'm very busy, and I like to be able to pull the reed out of the box and play it right away. So the very first thing I'd like to make clear is that if your reed is not working for you, if your reed is not making it easy for you to play, you need to try another reed. So a lot of times with articulations, go through and find a reed that you like. Many times they wear out and we don't even notice. So constant vigilance is your next step with articulations. So whenever you're playing, especially B over the break, that, no good. Tiny little squeaks, you gotta stop it. Big squeaks, you gotta stop it. I'm actually kind of proud of that. I tried to squeak and it never happens, and today it did. So you want nice, clean articulations there. So even if you're playing a quarter note or a whole note and you get a grunt or chirp or a little squeak on that, fix it and do it again. You can fix it with your embouchure and your tongue position, and also where you're tonguing on the reed. So make sure you're tonguing close to the tip here. Experiment with different places that work for you and different parts of your tongue. Sometimes people use anchor tonguing, which means they put the tip of their tongue behind their teeth and they use the middle of their tongue. So the other thing is you didn't actually say the speed of your piece. You just said you needed it to sound light and clean. Speed, when you're going really fast, I want you to think more of legato connected articulations than short articulations. That way you're not stopping the air. So if you're going, that's very short and pecky. It's more legato, but the faster you go, it will sound light and detached. So it's a lot of air, a lot of support. Some exercises that you can do to help with that is the classic C, D, E, F, G, and then go down. So slur up and slur down. You can also take it to the next step and repeat the top G. 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da. So here's what you're going to need to do. You're going to slur up, da. So you slur all the way to the downbeat of 2, and then you're going to rearticulate, da 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 da. Lean on this note a little bit. That'll help you keep that pulse steady. Ba da 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 da. So it'll sound like this. And then go up a step in C major. You'll find, like most of us, that it's going to be easier down here when you're not in the clarion register of the clarinet. That's when you press the register key. So on E, It's important to slur up to that downbeat of 2, especially going over the break, so that you get smooth and connected. Keep the air moving. Articulations are much more about the air. If you want those light detached ones, support here. I'll do it on E. So keep a good embouchure, nice air, good support. Okay, next question is from Demetrio. Pignataro. Demetrio. Hi. He says hi. And then he says, I have a question. What reed do you use? So this actually ties in with what we're talking about with articulations. So I used Van Doren's for many, many years. I loved them. They were my first reed. But I was starting to get really frustrated because I wasn't getting great reeds out of the box every time. So maybe I'd get 2 reeds out, and I decided I was going to try D'Addario for a while. So after several months of trying D'Addario, they take a little bit more love than a Van Doren. I have to soak them in water, but they have a nice ping in the sound that I like, and the box is very consistent. So I can open up a box of D'Addario reeds and I'm getting 9 or 10 reeds out of it, out of 10, which is amazing, and I'm very appreciative of that. So those are the reeds that I use now. I'm pulling it out. So I'm using the D'Addario Reserves. Sometimes I use the Classic. It depends on what I play. I use strength 4. And I'm going to try 4.5 because sometimes the 4s are a little light for me. My big advice with reeds is use what works for you. You may find that you like Van Doren's or Ligaphones or whatever, but use ones that work for you. The D'Addarios work great for me. I like the sound I'm getting, and I really like the consistency. All right, next question. Oh, I'm so sorry. YuYu? Gonzales? You're asking if there is an alternate fingering for high C and high D sharp, but I don't know which ones you mean. So, if you're talking about this C right here over the break, which some people call high C, then there's this high C, and then there's this high C. So I'm going to go with this one first because this is an easier question to answer. So if you're talking C and then you have to go to D sharp from here to here, you can use this C right there. So C with your left hand pinky and then moving to D sharp with your right hand pinky. C, D sharp right there. Some clarinets have another D sharp key right here. You can see where I have the post for it and I took it off. But that in that case you could do C to D sharp right here. But as of now, with my clarinet and most clarinets, unless you have a professional model where you didn't take the D sharp key off, you have C to D sharp with that little C tucked in there on the left. If you're talking about this C up to this D sharp, this is the standard. This is the one you're most likely going to use in band. Do not fall into the trap of using this D sharp. It's not in tune and it's kind of resistant and it can be a little squeaky. So it's not a great note to play. You've got D sharp here. There are a bunch of alternate D sharps too that are more like trill keys. So if D sharp is this one, you can overblow the side A flat right there. I left it open in the back, but if you want to keep your thumb down and trill to a D sharp, that'll work really nicely too. But those are trill fingerings. The Ridenour, I think it's the Ridenour book. I don't have it up here with me, but I'll link to it in the comments. That has pages and pages of altissimo fingerings for everything from C sharp all the way up to this double high C. So I suggest that you look that up. You can also look up, you can Google these fingerings, but the Ridenour book is a great, great resource to have. Okay, so our last question is from Tyler Westbrooks. And he says, I just joined band this year and got the clarinet at my school, and my band teacher tells us stuff like not to play in piano, but I don't know what the heck she means. You actually have a reply on here that's really good. It's from Olivia Ferguson, who says piano means to play more quietly and soft, and forte which is a lowercase f on your sheet music, means to play loud. And then there's mezzo forte and mezzo piano and other things that are just kind of in between those. So I'll talk about that for a second in a couple ways. So piano does mean to play quietly. So if your band director is asking you this, I'd love for you to elaborate on this question, because if she says to not play in the piano, usually when band directors say that, it's because people are playing too loudly or there are too many people playing it. Usually what they just ask us to do is play more quietly, because piano does mean quiet. So either you've got a ton of people playing a piano there and she just needs to have a couple layouts so she's getting that tone color that she wants, or maybe she means something else. I suggest you ask her. So maybe after band, stop by and just say, hey, I'm a little confused about what you mean with piano. Usually it just means play quietly, and when band directors tell us not to play in there, it's a balancing issue. Most of the time, I just tell people to play more quietly. Forte is one of my favorite dynamic markings, and I learned it says to play loud, but it actually means strong, like a fort. So you want to play strongly. And the reason why I like saying that instead is because strong has much more description in the word, but also sometimes when we play loud, we get a little excited and we lose control of our sound. So when you think fort, you think strong and control, and that helps people, and me too, keep a beautiful sound and nice control. What Olivia Ferguson was mentioning with mezzo forte and mezzo piano, they look like this. You get an M, F. That sort of means medium forte, so that's less than forte. And then, wow, I wrote that absolutely as tiny as I could. Here, I'll write a big one. So that's MF, mezzo forte, nice and gigantic, kind of. Looks like it's backwards. And then mezzo, if I have to write all this stuff backwards, I'm gonna lose my mind. All right, anyway, so mezzo piano is a little bit louder than piano. So just remember, medium piano a little louder, mezzo forte a little quieter. So those are all the questions that we had for this session of Ask a Clarinet Teacher. If you have a question, comment below. You can also send me a video if you want to go over some playing techniques that you're having. If I didn't answer your question clearly enough, please feel free to write in the comments below. I also offer Skype lessons, so if you need a little more time than what I'm able to give you in a video on YouTube, please contact me at csweetie@gmail.com for that as well. All right, thank you. Thank you everybody that asked questions, and the next session should be out next month, so hopefully we get some more questions. All right, thanks. Bye.